Alcaraz responds to the criticism in the US Open. Alcaraz advances with firm step in the US Open, facing to try to conquer for the second time the American Grand Slam after defeating by 7-6-3, 6-3, 6-4, Arthur Rinderknecht, who did not make it easy for the Mercian despite falling in 3 sets. The Mercian tennis player, who will face Jiri Lehecka in quarters, spoke about how his performance is being in the present season. "I do not think about last year. I go out to the court thinking that I am, also physically. I try to show my best tennis and in that I am focused when I approach the match. I want to achieve my proposed objectives, but I also try to enjoy on the court," affirmed the one from El Palmar. Alcaraz also defended himself before the possible criticisms regarding his constancy. "Maybe many people say that I am not as consistent as I should, but at the same time I have good results and I demonstrate it in the big tournaments. It is complicated to assimilate that arriving to quarters or to the semifinal is not enough, but also it is necessary to see if those quarters perhaps yes have been a good result." The pupil of Juan Carlos Ferrero also affirmed that the improvement of his serve has been key to maintain the constancy and achieve good results. "We have always had clear that the serve is a great weapon and very important nowadays. We have put much emphasis in improving it, in taking a good rhythm and achieving a good toss," he continued. Alcaraz, who this Sunday defeated the French Arthur Rinderknecht by 7-6-3, 6-3 and 6-4 in round of 16, assured to be in an adequate dynamic, having found a good feeling. "I am very happy with how it has gone. It is a weapon that has helped me a lot to maintain the consistency and obtain the results that I am having," he added. For the Mercian, an effective serve gives much tranquility when serving, but also when returning. To know that the serve is there, that you are going to start great part of the points dominating, which is what I like. And, above all, facing the return, it gives you security to play more loose, knowing that the serve is working well, he said. The Spanish tennis player also spoke of who will be his rival in the quarterfinals, the Czech Jiri Lehecka, number 21 of the world, with whom he already has played 2 times this year with a balance of 1 victory and 1 defeat. "I had problems each time that I played against him, no doubt, that demonstrates how difficult it is to face him," said Alcaraz. "It will be an interesting match. I have to review what I did well and what I did badly in those matches to arrive prepared and play in the best possible way in the quarterfinals," he added. The US Open dictates sentence with the schedules of Alcaraz and Djokovic for quarterfinals. Carlos Alcaraz hardly has trained 45 minutes in his training court fetish, the number 1. After 11:30 local time he arrived to the scenario, which he left before arriving to 12:30. After doing a series of exercises destined to prepare the match against the Czech Jiri Lehecka this Tuesday in quarterfinals of the US Open, with the help of his brother in sparring, Álvaro Alcaraz, and directed by Juan Carlos Ferrero. They chose the schedule without yet knowing the program of Tuesday, although the US Open had dictated sentence with forecast, communicating to the team of the Mercian that he would play by day, if the pairing between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz was confirmed. The organization and the local television decided that Carlos Alcaraz and Jiri Lehecka dispute the second turn of the Central Court this Tuesday, about 1900 hours to 1930 hours, according to the duration of the previous female individual, that will open at 17:30. The American Jessica Pegula faces the Czech Barbora Krejcikova. For the night of New York, already early morning Spanish of Tuesday to Wednesday, around 3, the clash between the Serb Novak Djokovic and the only American that resists in the male draw, Taylor Fritz. They put before, at 1, the encounter between the Belarusian Aryna Sabalenka and the Czech Marketa Vondrausova. The nice gesture of Alcaraz with the son of Townsend. From the retirement of part of the Big Three, with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal saying goodbye, the flag of tennis remained somewhat orphaned to be carried by a figure that was inspiration and served as mirror for many. It seems that Carlos Alcaraz feels comfortable in that position to erect himself as the greatest ambassador actual of tennis. For proof, this gesture that he had with the son of Taylor Townsend, where he agreed to take a photo with him, making him see that his mom was all in number 1 and that he did not reach her height. A great one. Alcaraz puts the US Open upside down. The Mercian reaches quarters after defeating Rinderknecht and seeks to surpass for first time the historic barrier of the 5 digits in the ATP ranking. Carlos Alcaraz continues unstoppable in the US Open 2025. After defeating with solvency the French Arthur Rinderknecht by 7-6-3, 6-3 and 6-4, the Mercian reaches the quarterfinals with the opportunity of reaching the historic barrier of the 10,000 ATP points for first time in his career. Actually he sums 9,940, and if he surpasses Jiri Lehecka in the next round, he will arrive to the 5 digits and consolidate still more his position as candidate to world number 1. 8 finals, 6 titles, 58 victories and an impeccable regularity. The season of Alcaraz is being the best of his career in terms of consistency and performance. From the beginning of the clay swing, the Spaniard has not gone down from the last round of the tournaments, demonstrating that his rise is not coincidence but fruit of an extraordinary level. The reward is reflected now in the US Open, where each victory adds decisive points for his classification and his final objective, the number 1 of the world. Road to the 10,000 points, and is that with the triumph against Rinderknecht he has already assured his pass to the quarters and at least 350 points more with respect to the last season, when he fell in second round against Botic van de Zandschulp. If Alcaraz surpasses Jiri Lehecka on Tuesday 2 of September, he could sum up to 10,340 points, surpassing for first time the barrier of the 10,000. His main rival for the world throne, Jannik Sinner, will have to maintain an extraordinary level to prevent that the Mercian snatches him the first place, although he still depends on himself to stay at the top. Rivalry that will mark the final. The duel with Sinner could repeat for 5th time this season, being the 3rd in a Grand Slam after the confrontations in Roland Garros and Wimbledon. Before, Alcaraz had surpassed the Italian in Rome and Cincinnati, this last conditioned by physical problems of Sinner. Everything points that both could see each other in the big final of Flushing Meadows, where not only the title of the US Open will be played, but also the summit of the world ranking, in a confrontation that promises to be historic for tennis. With his insatiable hunger, his unbeatable level and the possibility of surpassing the 10,000 points, Carlos Alcaraz confirms himself as the great sensation of the world tennis in 2025 and main candidate to the number 1 if he maintains his unstoppable rhythm in New York. Brutal reaction of Sinner after seeing himself against the ropes in the US Open. Murmur in the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Comments of incredulity. This Jannik Sinner does not look at all like the champion of the US Open and world number 1, titles that he could cede if not reacting. A player accustomed to command, dominated. And, the most worrying, with resigned face. The same whispers invited to a reaction of the Italian at some moment of the encounter. A Sinner against the ropes, wounded. When he saw that there was no turning back, he went out punching from the corner in which the left-handed Canadian Denis Shapovalov, 26 years and number 48 world, a former top 10 who had been better in Australia 2021, had put him. Since then, their careers have progressed in opposite senses. The response of Sinner was brutal. Saved by the bell in the second set, that he made his after hour and a half of torment, he found himself with a 0-3 in the third set. Again sounding the alarm. He turned it off. He destroyed it. He won 5-7, 6-4, 6-3 and 6-3 in 3 hours. 12. With his technical team standing when he saved a break ball previous to the closure. Tension. There was no calm in the Transalpine group until firmly tied the classification. Sinner raised the level, after too much time of lifeless game, and ended up destroying an opponent that at the same time showed the weaknesses that prevented him from staying with the elite. He suffered with a knee injury, also for his irregularity, during a match and along a season. A bit soft, although this course lifted the trophies of Dallas and Los Cabos. He always has lacked constancy. The one that Sinner exhibited, who responded like the great that he is. With sets equal and 0-3, a forceful partial of 9-0. Come back to tie the third set, 6-3, and face the fourth, 3-0. Without the brilliance of the thrashings of the 2 previous rounds, but making good the idea that the best are characterized for being those who win more matches when they do not play at their maximum, in a day without the special inspiration. They search and search until they find the remedy. From the premise that always they start from very high, the genius never they lose. They have a gift. And Sinner clung to the defense of the US Open and the number 1, waiting to enjoy a more opportune day in the round of 16, against the American Tommy Paul or his executioner in the grass of Halle, the Kazakh Alexander Bublik. If he enchants when he thrashes, more merits added Sinner solving his own problems and the streaks of inspiration of Shapovalov, to whom the encounter became very long. That he had no more when the Italian put another gear.